Greetings, Patreon friends, as we wrap up our month-long sit with Saffron. I wanted to just share a couple of personal experiences and observations with you. I would like to continue to do this every month where we do kind of a little decompression session. So my hope is that if you have experiences or questions or realizations that came up through this month-long sit with Saffron, that you will use this section, the little comments below, and just share with everybody. I think that we can make so much progress if we see what other people are doing, and we can be inspired by other folks' experiences. So I'm gonna start the ball rolling and share my own. I want to say this before I start, that I've been doing these journeys for a really, really long time. And because of that practice and dedication, I've gotten really good at them, which means that I get a lot from my time with these plants. So if you got nothing but the experience and the medicine and the healing on quiet levels, that's valid and it's perfect. If you got more than I did, that's also great. There's no right or wrong here. The journey is, we say that it's a journey and not a destination for a reason. There's nowhere to get, right? There's the point of it is to keep dancing the spiral and kind of peeling that onion. So a couple of things. First is that when I got to the 9th day of the journey, so we were at 9, I was following the add a drop every day until the full moon. That, I think 11th or 12th day, that dose felt a little high for me. I noticed that after that dose, I would get a little bit of a head buzz, sometimes a little dizziness. It would only last for maybe 3 minutes, and it was not alarming. In fact, it kind of felt like, something was kind of being resolved, some kind of blockage was happening, but I did choose to stay at 9 drops from that point on. And then once we got on our way back down, I then went down to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So which one was today? So I stayed at 9, and I bring that up because I want folks to know that you got to honor your body, and that if 9 is right for you, do 9. If 3 is right for you, do 3. 45 is right for you, do 45. There's no, again, it's a journey. It's your process. There were some overarching themes for my Saffron journey. I did journal every night. One was this experience of golden light. This was a very light-based medicine for me. I'll talk about that here in a minute. Another was about effortlessness, of just kind of being, which is difficult for me. So that lesson came up. The other, which was maybe the biggest thing for me, was this awakening internal light potential. So I'm going to talk about that a little more. And then the real feeling of Saffron for me was just very quiet, silent, powerful, motionless sometimes, in some ways that maybe I can share a little bit more here in a minute. We'll see. I am outside in a plant preserve, so hopefully the traffic around and stuff is not, hopefully it's not picking up too much on the mic. So a few of the more powerful things that I learned from this journey. First is that Saffron feels like the rising sun. There's this silent, almost motionless energy of Saffron for me that, kind of like when you're watching the sunrise, the sun's coming up so slow that sometimes it feels like it's not moving at all. It's just this silent time of the morning, gentle. Saffron felt like that. And from that, I made this connection that the crocus blooms really early in the spring, kind of at the dawn of the spring, and Saffron floods the land with auspiciousness and light, and the sun rises and floods the land with auspiciousness and light, which if you read through the monograph, the stories of Hausos and the goddess of the dawn, so it all really clicked together for me, and I really enjoyed that. The light which Saffron seemed to work on was already inside of me. This was a really interesting thing. I don't feel like the medicine brought in an external light. Rather, it felt like an awakening of the light within me, my own potential, going in and kind of finding fires within that had maybe become a little dampened, a little low or covered or dusty, and firing them up like a bellows, which is really nice. Saffron feels almost instantly systemic for me, meaning that when I take the medicine, I feel it move into my heart center, and then it almost just kind of instantly goes everywhere. It's just like in my whole body all at once. I've got a lot of pronounced warmth from saffron, a lot of surface diaphoresis on the surface of my skin, filling my pores open and my skin flush a little bit. Some days more than others, but that was a pretty general experience. And it seemed to focus a lot around like my chest and my arms. Let's see, I just brought some notes so that I can tell you everything. I posted a guided audio meditation on circulating the light, and this was actually something that was taught to me in my work with saffron. So if you didn't see that, if you go to Patreon under the audio tag, there's a circulating the light ritual, which, having done this journey with this plant in a more dedicated way versus kind of more cursory sits that I've done with saffron, I can say this idea of circulating the light is very, very saffron for me. I also got a really beautiful meditation from saffron about drawing up from the soil what materials, what power, what wisdom I need to create what I need to create in life. So that was really nice. There were two phrases that continually came up in my meditations and my journey. The first one was the question of what makes you happy? What is it that really brings you joy? So I really spent the last month thinking about that, right? Which is, it seems like kind of pedestrian in a way, like kind of like, duh, right? But I actually got to a lot of places because of that question. I got to a lot of thinking and a lot of daydreaming and a lot of like planning, how I can nourish those things that make me happy and how I can release the things that are getting in the way, the things that don't make me happy, right? So there you go. The basics are important. And the phrase awaken the light, constant throughout this. While sitting with saffron, while taking the medicine, all of it, just that idea of waking up the light in the same way the sun rises and wakes up the world, in the way that the spring comes and wakes up all of the growing things after a slumber of winter. So again, I don't know if this is all very personal and stuff that I have to work on, or if there are other folks out there that will have these same experiences. These journeys can be incredibly powerful but incredibly personal. Oftentimes the medicine is very, very suited to the person. So it's cool when a lot of us have similar experiences, then we have some verified personal gnosis. But if everyone's experience is completely different, that is equally as interesting and also valid. A big part of where that sort of meditation on what makes me happy and leaning into the person of saffron to help me figure that out was the recognition, and this is a big thing that came through for me this month, that happiness is an omen, right? That when we're happy, it's like a sign that we're on a good path, that we're doing things harmoniously, that we're living in harmony with the moment or the person we're with or the situation we're in. And so looking for those moments of happiness, I know it's hard to feel all the time. It's an omen that you're doing something right. So it bears enjoying the moment, but also stepping back maybe later on and saying, what was happening? What was going on that facilitated me feeling that way? Saffron and crocus really showed up consistently in my journeys in plant form. This is not always the case for me. Sometimes the plants show up in a non-plant form in the way that they sort of appear in my inner vision. Crocus was consistently the crocus flower showing up as themselves, which I thought was really interesting. There was a lot of free, natural, easy, just joy in this journey for me. A lot of nights the sit was taking the medicine and just immediately getting a big smile on my face for no real reason, and kind of just trying to lean into that, to just enjoy that moment of effortless joy, like happiness without a reason, right? Not because something was happening or there was some stimulation or whatever, but just because, which again is a personal struggle for me. So I think that, you know, maybe several of us experienced that, but for me, it was really like Saffron was helping me work on my stuff, you know, which is what this is all about, by the way. I got a lot closer to crocus, by the way, than I expected. I didn't think that this plant and I would resonate as much as we did. I chose saffron for this journey because saffron chose the journey, right? I don't sort of cerebrally choose who we're going to sit with. There's a process of divination that goes around it, and it was saffron, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, let's get weird, let's see where it goes, and it got weird, and I have fallen in love with this plant in a way that I really did not expect. So that's always interesting, and I'm going to end with sharing a little prayer that I wrote, a little prayer to saffron. And I would do this every night. I wrote this probably about 7, 8, 9 nights in, pretty early on, and then kind of added it as part of my nightly ritual, my nightly sit. And then when I would sit in the mornings, I would do it too. And so I would hold the tincture kind of against my heart, and I would ask saffron to bring your saffron golden light to every cell of my being, to every fiber of my being, to every space within me, to every pattern I hold, and to the world around me. And then I would take the dose. So it was really just a petition to ask to be saturated with that medicine and then to carry it out into the world. And I generally don't write prayers like that where I repeat them over and over again, but I got that one, like I said, pretty early on and wrote it down, and I instantly had it in memory, and I just kept doing it. And now it's in my grimoire, and when I need to work with saffron, that prayer along with that phrase of awaken the light will be keys that I work with for this plant spirit. So that's kind of a little behind the scenes too of how some of the deeper work that folks do with plant spirits comes about, is that we get these hits, these downloads, these words and phrases and symbols, glyphs and sigils sometimes, and they become part of the cult of that plant that we work with. And sometimes when several of us have similar experiences, we document them in a way that allows us to share them more openly with other people, because the gnosis is verified, right? That plant spirit is showing that rather than the teaching being super personal, it's widely applicable to a lot of people. It's broad spectrum, which is very cool. So hopefully that's helpful. I'll try to do these every month if you find them interesting. And again, if you would share something, whether it's experiences or frustrations or what you did, or things that maybe shifted in your life that you didn't expect that maybe had something to do with the journey, please use the comments below. I really would love to hear about this. If you want to do a video version of it, just send me a link and I'll post it for you here in this tag. Otherwise, thank you, of course, for coming along, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon.